What up, you guys? Welcome to the TTR show. I got my homeboy right here. Let's get started. Oh my God! Okay, so introduce yourself first.
Okay, my name's Kalifah. I'm here on this show.
And them locks, bro. This guy got locks. Yo, show everybody blood clot, man. Ross, they look sweet, bro. I love it. Okay, you put your hat back on. The PS4 hat. So, I brought him specifically here because he is really woke on a lot of topics that I hear. And I want to know, what type of things are you woke on?
I'm woke on Africans coming from Africa to America.
Okay.
And the people from Caucasus Mountains or in Europe coming from Europe towards Africa.
Okay.
And then being banished, going back to the mountains, being freed by Moses.
Okay.
And then they spread down towards Africa, and then they come out to west side of what they used to call Earth, planet Asia, and they used to go to they went to the western side of Asia, and they took over most of that western seaboard.
Okay, how old are you two? How old are you?
I'm 12, almost 13.
Okay, this is a 12 because not a lot of people this age like know stuff like this.
Yes.
So, okay, do you live in like a majority white neighborhood, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're like the only black kid. Okay,
Not
so
really.
it's okay. So that's like me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what type of experiences did you have? Like, do you feel like that shaped you? Do you feel like that changed you in a way, made you stronger?
Yes, because I grew up in a white neighborhood, and the only people who was around me was my mother, my brother, and my father. My father was particularly woke because he grew up in America in the 1970s, where racism was just sort of dying out, and the N-word was commonly used.
Yeah.
And so then he had to grow up coming from his grandmother, who was from Mississippi, and they lived down
That's
there.
like the deep south. Yeah, right?
And so they were lived there because they were taken from, I think, Congo. His great grandfather was taken from Congo and brought to America.
Now, was this like during the slave trade or
Yes,
this was
during the slave trade.
Okay.
Because you've been removed from your environment, you need to be a strong black man and know about yourself and your people. Because if you don't, you're going to be uneducated, you're going to end up doing something stupid, and you're going to end up losing your life or going to jail for the rest of your life. So if you're educated about your people and other things, you will understand more, and you'll understand what your environment is, and you can live in it.
All I know is that my ancestors were brought to Jamaica, and then from there we went over to Canada. But I know, yeah, that's a huge thing. But a lot of people, one thing people don't know is that our history doesn't start with slavery.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people, especially teachers, when they bring up black history, they want to talk especially about slavery, segregation. When I'm like, people don't even know, if we're going to talk about black history, we should know the name Mansa Musa.
Right.
We should know the Mali Empire. This is stuff we should know.
Right.
So what type of things would you tell people that you feel like are asleep? Like,
Right.
what are some things you preach to people?
Depends on what you want to know. Like, I can go back to AD, BC, when they were starting to build the pyramids, and the better the king was to the people, the bigger of a pyramid they would build for the king.
Wow.
If the king pharaoh, them big bricks that you see, them big pyramids, that means that king or queen was the greatest king or queen they ever had.
Yeah, and they build that. And by then, the pyramids are like shiny and joint, right? Like, I have a book. If you got me on Instagram, people on Instagram, I'm reading a book that has like all the hieroglyphs from like the Book of the Dead and stuff. I'm reading that. That joint's so interesting. But for real though, I think this is stuff we need to know. Like, people need to know the Egyptians were black. Okay.
Right. There was even black Asian people.
Yes. Okay. Right. Now, tell me more about this, like the Caucasus Mountains and stuff you were talking about.
So there is this place in Europe called the Caucasus Mountains. And so
Which is where white people got the Caucasian word from, right?
Right.
Okay.
And so they were there as cavemen, because when you look at history books, you don't see any black cavemen, right?
Yeah,
which means they must have been somewhere else. So they think that everyone came from apes because we evolved and they're very similar. But when you think about it, you don't see any black cavemen. Which means
you don't, right?
We wouldn't evolve from apes, which means we must have been somewhere else.
Now, okay, so where do you think black people evolved from? Because we are the sun people.
Right.
We could be in the sun all day and not get burnt and scorched like all these other races.
Right.
So for people that are wondering, like, where did we come from then?
I want to say we started out as all of a people, as one color, and we started breeding. But because when you mix with anyone, you can get any type of color.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's with black people, right? Like, black people, you could get any variation of race.
And so I think they came from black to brown to any other color, and then it just kept getting lighter and lighter.
Okay, so everybody evolved from us.
Yes, everyone evolved from black people, and I know a lot of people say this is racist. So an astronomist studies astronomy, right? Stars, and a racist studies a race, because the IST makes it.
Oh, okay. So you're saying so a racist studies race.
Right. But then there's uneducated astronomers who think they know everything.
Okay.
And there's uneducated racists who are these people out here saying they know everything and talking about the N-word and calling people N-words and being discrimination because of the color of
So how would you tell the difference? Like,
well, you can tell someone is educated if they're talking about their own history and other people's history accurately.
okay.
And you can tell if someone's just spitting out words just because.
Oh, do you believe Donald Trump is racist?
It depends. I haven't really read the news too much because I'm somewhere else.
I'm not even in the news barely either. Like, I think the news is so negative.
But it depends. I mean, you want to know what's going on, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Right. It depends. I mean, he did make Mexican people come who wanted to escape all what's going on in Mexico.
Yeah.
And they wanted to get away from that, come to America, the cities of gold. And so they wanted to come there, and Donald Trump kept them at the border because they were quote unquote terrorists.
So you think so? Obviously, I feel like he generalizes. He's
Right.
for real. Like he just
Stereotypical.
Yes. So I don't believe in him. Well, clearly I don't. But like, what do you say to people that think he's not racist?
Well, to the people who think he's not racist, you're just uneducated. I mean, look at the facts.
So they're racist themselves, basically.
Right.
Okay.
But if you're uneducated and you don't want to be educated, then you're
chipping.
Yeah. But if you aren't educated and you want to be educated, you should try and find someone with knowledge, and you should learn. And this way, you'll have more and more people who won't want to discriminate other people.
It's like people like to be uneducated. Like they don't want to learn. They don't want to do all this. Like when I had to tell people, like people be like, "Oh, you know, black people are so violent."
Right. But that's because white people went in with drugs and guns and put it into the environment.
Tell them
to destroy their environment.
Yes.
And they would even send their own people into that environment, give them big sums of money. The rich people, they would send their own black people into that environment and take down. That's why gangs were created, to protect their own black people within that community. And so that's why people say, "Oh, there's gang violence, But they used to send black people in as spies to which was called hood, which just comes from the name neighborhood.
Yeah.
They would send them in there to go see what's going on. Then they would send entire SWAT teams and kill everyone in that neighborhood, including women and children.
I would say like Tulsa, Oklahoma, like Black Wall
Stuff
Street,
like
all
that.
of that.
There was this, I forgot where this place, in 19 something. They went and they burnt down this entire city with gasoline. It was the Ku Klux Klan. Yes.
I'm thinking you're thinking of Black Wall Street. Because Black Wall Street is when it was like everything was all black. They told us segregation. They told us, you guys are black. You guys need to stay in your own area.
Right.
So we built our own city. It was called Black Wall Street, in which we had like a whole we had like 3 hospitals.
Right.
We had a whole train stations and everything.
But no one thinks like that, right?
Yes.
But you see,
and they bombed it.
Right. And you see, there's the Eastern Asian people. They have their own little convenience stores and stores. They're making money, and then they bring all their money from their community and
put it in the
right. But why can't anyone else do that?
Yeah.
Why can't black people do that? Why do we have to go and buy from other people just so we can be discriminated? If we go and buy from white people, they're gonna discriminate us because we're lesser than them because we're buying from them.
And they call us racist when we want to buy black and support our own community.
Right. But if we have our own stores in our own community and we grow our own food, we won't have to deal with that because you can come into our neighborhood, but we own the whole neighborhood. We have our own protection. We have everything. So if you come in and you discriminate us, we can kick you out of the neighborhood. That's why people smart like my father, they want to buy big plots of land, plant all their crops, have it right by a river, have a little
a dam.
Electricity you don't have to pay because you have those two.
Live
and you
off
want
the grid. A lot of people wanted to do that lately.
Yes, it's easier.
Yeah.
See, my dad wanted to do that from time though.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to deal with all this. There's lesser to pay, and there's no one to control your life.
Yeah.
So you basically live off yourself. Whatever you grow, you eat and you grow. Go ahead.
See, I was gonna say I thought about that. I was like, Jamaica, like I wanted to live off the grid, live off the land. But then I also thought with the stuff going on in our communities, we gotta say 2020 is the year of change.
Yes.
See what I'm saying? I've been saying that from the joint. Right with 2019, I said 2020 things are gonna change, and we need people to I see a lot of people now buying black and all this stuff like that. And I wanted to live off the grid at one point, but I thought with everything going on in our communities, we really need to stay and fight at the same time.
Right.
All this stuff. I see so many people buying black now, which is so good. I see people waking up to how the government's treating us.
Right.
All of that, but we need more.
Right. This should have happened from time.
A long time.
Exactly. And then people want to ignore the fact to say, oh, he's just being so and so. Right. And a good recommendation for the Egyptian history I was reading is this book called When We Ruled by Robin Walker. It's like a 702 page book or 713 page book.
Wow, you read all that joint?
No, I only read the 200. And then I quit. And it's this there's Egyptian chronology, there's Egyptian how they built pyramids. One fact specifically that intrigued me is because I myself is a Muslim. Am I Muslim? And they were talking about in AD and BC, Islam was one of the cultures that they had. But when white people came, they learned what their culture was, and then they set off. They went to North America. They came back talking about the Bible. I'm not going to diss any other religions here because I don't know what's really happening. And they came back talking about Jesus will give you this and Jesus will give you that. But what I think is if they had their own religion from time, from the beginning, which means they would have made up their own religion. But they're still only...
So you're saying that white people have kind of, like, they've infiltrated...
Yes.
Yeah, they infiltrated, they've changed us.
Right.
When they need to leave us alone, and we would have had way more power than we have right now.
Right. I'm not dissing any other religions. You believe what you want to believe. But I feel like they made up that religion to come back. There's definitely a Christ. There's a savior. And what I believe in my religion is this... There's these people called the FOI, the Fruit of Islam. They believe that man is a god because... everything physical dies, right?
Yeah.
And why would he be a mystical spirit? That doesn't make sense. Everybody is the same, right?
Okay.
So he would have to have his own physical self to be so right. He was created from fire, which created the Big Bang. He was part of the Big Bang, and that's what sparked everything. So at first he was just this fire, and it was a star, and he was just surrounded by darkness. And so he started to make stars, and he figured out how to do it. And everything physical dies, right? Which means his body will die, but the mental knowledge of him will not die, which means it would be passed on to another person.
Okay.
So the God we believe in now is this man named Master Fard Muhammad. Master W.D. Fard Muhammad. He is what we consider our savior. And all these aliens up here is what we consider for him to be in this mother plane and baby planes. All those things flying around, they're actual things, what we believe have come from other planets, and they created it on Earth when it was young, and they brought it up into the sky in 1958, I think.
So do you believe, like, with all the aliens, do you believe these aliens are real? Like, do you believe they're from other planets?
Well, there's probably other people who are like us. Well, because there's not going to be an alien creature with ET head looking like, because human is the best form, right? We can run on two legs. We have other two arms to do something else. When you think about it, an ape is the smartest intelligent animal because it can move around, right? It's the closest thing to a human.
Yeah.
And if you research how long an ape will survive, it's around, I want to say 25 years, but I could definitely be wrong. That means the ape lives longer. It uses everything, right? And it has 4 arms, and it doesn't crawl. It walks sometimes. So if you think about it, the animal has 4 arms. So why would an alien have more than 4 arms?
It's just in this like a universal, like, physical.
So that means if aliens were real, they would look something like us.
Okay, do you believe in the, what's it called? The reptilians and the greys, like all the races of alien that people claim, and I know a lot of people astral project, and they actually interact with these aliens. So do you believe like these species of aliens, like do you believe in them, and do you believe they are from like outside in the universe somewhere?
Well, I mean, sure, there can be other people on other planets, but 2 planets are uninhabitable, and that is, I'm pretty sure, Neptune and Mercury. It's too cold there and it's too hot there.
Yeah.
So the rest are and no, you can't live on Jupiter. It's a gas planet.
So you're saying they're from Earth?
Right. So which means people could have spread out before, which means the technology beforehand, before cars, before building bricks, which means they could have left Earth and found a way to inhabit the other planets.
So you're saying there's people before us that evolved before us,
which means there could have, so alternate universes could have been 2020 but looked much different like this.
Wow.
When you think about it, it's like time travel. So they estimate that the universe is something trillion years old. But that doesn't make sense, because if you think about how old Earth is, something million years, that doesn't make sense.
Don't you think they would come from another inhabitable planet, like outside of our
Yes,
solar
they
system?
could do that, but they can't live here because it's dangerous to them. They can't breathe there. They have different environments there. Like a creature that moves from the rainforest can't move to the desert. It will die.
Yeah.
Right. There's not enough water and there's not enough cover. So they'll die. Which means if an alien came to this planet, it would die. If we went to their planet, we would die if we don't have the right environment.
Okay.
So, and the reason I don't think anyone finds anything on the surface is because they live underground. It only makes sense. If you watch Mars rover footage, you won't see anything on top of the planet.
So where would they be? Because I'm like, I know they're here.
Which means they can go underground, which means they would have to have some form of intelligence to bury above them.
Yeah.
Which means they can, because the planet's entirely different, right? Which means it can have its own structural support. Gravity is different on that planet, which means the floor can be different above it. And we don't know what type of planets are out there. The planets can repair itself sometimes. The Earth repairs itself by growing more trees. When a tree dies, it gets nutrients from the Earth and pops up, right?
Yeah.
That's our healing process on the Earth. But other planets could be different. They might live off of something that's under the ground. Like maybe they eat certain minerals and crystals.
What do you think is the next step? I don't know where you've learned so much. Like this is awesome.
Just books. My father in books.
But where does this come from? Like, because I feel bad. I know. Okay. Also, a lot of what people out there, when we're transitioning to being understanding,
Right.
I don't necessarily. I feel mean saying this, but I don't feel it with white people as much anymore.
I know.
Because of all the ignorance, and they don't understand
Right.
as much as my own people would understand me.
Right.
They do not understand so much stuff. And it makes me angry because I'm like,
Demonetization.
yeah, I feel like I have to teach all my friends all this stuff.
But they should know it. But they're cool, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not gonna hang out with some guy who's like, hey, N-word, come here. Like, I have some white friends, yes. It's not uncommon. We live in North America, which was conquered.
Yeah, it's like the only people that's there around too, eh?
You just bury yourself in them and you see how they act. And then you sort of mix your culture and how they act together and you get something new. That's why I'm cool with a lot of white people, because I'm not spitting out facts and calling them names without factual evidence. And there's no point in calling them names because they've done nothing to me. I don't have to spit out facts. Like my mom, she's bad mouth. She's a teacher, so she works at a school where there's tons of bullying and things. So she has colleagues who disrespect her and students. And what she'll do is she'll tell them about themselves and spit out facts about what really is going on and what you're doing. And so they'll think about that, and they'll think about what they're going to say next time they talk about her or a student. So you implant the seed in your mind, like, hey, next time you do this, you know, there's always going to be someone like me, but bigger and stronger and willing to do something to you.
So they talk about your mom?
Yeah, they talk about my mom. But my mom has these. I have these. I don't know. I used to always use these. But as a lot of people say, violence is not the answer. Sometimes it resorts to violence. If someone's going into you and messing with you and you tell them to leave you alone, you tell a teacher they don't do nothing, you tell a principal they do nothing, then all you have is these. You try using your words, they do nothing.
I feel like, yeah, as black people, we definitely need to learn a lot more self-defense. You know, how to shoot a gun, not to be violent,
Right.
but for self-protection. This is stuff we need.
Right, but you don't always need a gun, though. You just need to disarm your enemy and neutralize them.
Okay, what would you say for the white people that are watching this?
Well, for white people, I think you should read up about black history and your own history and other people's history, so you know what's really going on. And then you think about it and think about what your ancestors done and what our ancestors done, and you assess that. And this way you know what to really think about other people.
Okay.
But you want to read factual books, not just books talking about, oh, I went to Africa and I saw this. You want to read books that are factual, and you want to read books that were written in times like the 18s or maybe even the 1900s.
So you want them to learn about us, our history, and their history as well?
Yes. So this way you think what you want to think, you learn what you need to learn, and then from there you process that information and you know what to think.
Do you feel like white people are too ignorant nowadays? They don't
Sometimes,
understand.
yes. The more you know about yourself, the more you can tell people about you and they'll be more comfortable with you.
Okay, what do you want to do in your future? Like, how would you take your knowledge now, put it into your future? How would you use that for your future goals?
I hope really we don't have to, because white people have been ruling over black people for 600 years.
Period.
About
True.
600 years. And now our Father, God or Allah, is taking them off of their seat, and they don't want to come off their seat. He gave them time to rule, and he's taking them off their seat now. And they don't want to go. And so they're going to try and do whatever they can to stay on the seat. But they have guns and military weapons, you say. What's going to stop a hurricane? What's gonna stop a tornado, or earthquake?
I've been saying this from the jump. White people's time is done.
Yes.
Like you could see us rising. I see a lot of people moving back to Africa too. You know what I'm saying? Like our communities are building up quick, and the white people are scared because they know their time is done.
The whole planet is about to suffer. My dad's been telling me since I was little. The whole planet's is gonna suffer soon.
Yeah. What do you want to see done for the future?
Well, I want to see everyone have equality, so this way we can just live and go about our business. We don't have to deal with all these things. We don't have to deal. I want to see people be able to be treated fairly, and anyone who's not be able to comply can go live somewhere else. If we're under oppression all our lives, we're not going to learn anything. All we're going to learn is what we're being taught in school, which is to not do for ourselves. Because when you think about it, they don't teach you, they don't say, okay, what you need to do for a successful life is go grab some plot of land, about 2-3 acres of land, plant on that land so you have your own food.
Yeah, they don't teach black people how to succeed within themselves. Right. Okay.
They teach you go work for this white man, make money, and become successful off of them. But if you search up the 10 top richest people in the world, you're gonna see first couple few are gonna be white.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, yes.
To conclude, first, what advice do you have to black people that are listening to this, and especially millennials your age and my age, that want to grow and evolve and know the stuff you have? What advice do you have for them right now?
I know a lot of people won't like this. Read a bunch of books on your own history. Make sure that you have a successful little plot of land for yourself so you can make your own food, make your own
self-sufficiency.
Have your own little neighborhood filled with all your types of people, with your people. So this way you and your people can grow your own city without the help of anyone else. So you'll have your own city outside of everyone else, and you don't have to do anything else for anyone else. So you're working for your people and working for your people. You're making money from your people, but helping your people at the same time.
Now, why do you say that though?
Because this way you don't have to get paid by another system. If you have your own business, you get paid by doing things for other people who live in the same country. But if you have your little town, you're fixing the town to make it look better and getting paid, and you put that back into the town. So the town just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and eventually you'll have a worldwide city. You'll just have a huge city which everyone can just live in.
You think times are really changing right now?
Yes.
So it's time for us to really focus and learn this stuff, learn about ourselves, in order to escape the system that was implied to us from colonialism in the 600 years that white people have enslaved us.
Yes.
Okay, now last one, what would you say to white people and any other people that is like non-black? What would you tell to them, especially since the times we say that we're in right now?
Well, I want to say this to everyone who is not white for right now. You want to learn for yourselves. You want to learn about your people. Make your own little communities. Make your own little things. So everyone has their little own something. And then this way we can all come together and have our little own place where there's no racism and there's nothing for us to be oppressed against. So there's no oppressors, and wherever everyone just lives at equal. And then we'll have head boards of each race who live and started that city, and so we'll come together and we'll congregate and we'll learn each other's language, and then everyone will be able to communicate just fine. Nothing bad will happen because you live with your people and your people live with you. Like me, and black people and Mexican people have always been cool. If you come straight from the original Mexican people were cool with black people before colonizers came from
Portugal.
Yes, before they came from there, black people were cool with Mexican people. There was even black Mexicans there.
And back then, that's when black people were superior. They saw black people as superior, right?
I want to say the more melanin in your skin, the more power you have. I don't feel like you're a superhero power, but the more power you have because there's more of you. If you think for every one white person, there's 11 other people who do not look white on this planet. When you think about it, the white people are there because they came there and colonized. The white people are in North America because they came there and colonized. They tried to colonize China, but
that failed.
They failed because they have their own style of martial arts, and I'm not stereotyping, but they did.
They were very powerful people. They really tried with China, and they could not do that.
They could not do anything, right?
And they're still trying. They're still trying to make China lesser than the U.S. You see what I'm saying? This is knowledge we all need to learn because the times we are in, and my friends will text me, Vinny, stop. This stuff isn't real. Y'all really need to calm down. But the times are really in. If you are in the black community, if you are in black Instagram, black Twitter, black, anything. If you're in our communities, you know what times we're in. You can see with Trump and everything that things are changing. 2020 is the year that things will flip for us.
Right.
And by the time this whole virus is gone, the virus is exposed so much. So by the time the virus is done, nothing will go back to normal.
Right.
People will see way more than they did before.
Right.
And that will cause an even huger awakening.
And I want to say to other black people, y'all just need to stop with this rap stuff. Y'all can make music, but white people went into our communities and made us like that. So if you want to follow what the white person made you and then talk about you're all black and black this, don't make music like that. Make music white, like the Wu-Tang Clan, the KRS-One made, Redman made, Old Dirty made. Make music like that about systemic racism and suppression of white people or other people, how you're being oppressed. Make music about that, and that will empower other people. Because if you just make music like this, everyone's gonna think, oh, black people, oh, guns and drugs. Like, I've seen Canadians myself who want to act like they're Crips and Bloods, but Crips and Bloods were made to protect their own community. Mm-hmm. But if you're just gonna go around saying you have guns and drugs, what's the point of that? Because you're making an impact on other white people on how they say black people.
So black people need to be smarter
Yes.
on how they fight and how they move about their own culture.
Right.
So this culture we have, we need to really reanalyze it and figure out how we could actually gain for real power instead of doing the old stuff, because the old stuff isn't necessarily working anymore.
Right. And for white people, I just want to say, tell all your friends, you educate yourselves on other people's history, and that way you're cool with them, because they're not gonna know what you're really like. They're gonna think, oh, you're just some white person who thinks they know everything. But if you read other people's books, if you read their history and you know their history, you'll be cool with them because you know it. And you don't even have to be a professional. Just read books on it.
So the way to get out of ignorance, the way for white people, because ignorance in white people is just like the media teaches them. The parents don't teach them about other cultures, so the media teaches them about other cultures.
Right.
So we're gonna end it right there. That was bomb. Like, that needs to be heard right there. I'm for real. That was so good. But I need what are some last words you have for anybody out there?
Everyone out there, just do what you gotta do, because the world's about to start going crazy. It's gonna start falling apart, and no one's gonna have their own plots of land. Energy is gonna go up. What are you gonna do when the energy goes up?
Babylon done. Yep.
Everyone's gonna die. The food supply is gonna run out. It's gonna be droughts all over the place. What are you gonna do about that? There's gonna be fires all over the place.
And you said to make sure that you
Your
self-sustaining.
Yes.
Learn. Okay. That is amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was so amazing. Thank you for that, man. I really do appreciate you.
Yes, bro.
And we're gonna end it there. Now, you guys are gonna see the full episode on my YouTube, and I'll put all the little clips on Instagram. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. That was so gangsta.